Hello, hello out there. James here with another video. And it's another video that seems pretty interesting and how the way to avoid, people or to create peace and harmony with people who don't like you, for regardless of what you look like. And everybody in right now in the state of the economy, they want to be on top, but you got some people that want to, by them being on top, they want to put their foot on other people. And so I come to the conclusion, and I was just thinking about this here, is that the best way to avoid people that are prejudiced and that are biased and that are racist or anything, if they have some type of business, don't go in their business. Best thing to do is avoid them. If you feel that there's a pattern with them, and if you are part of an ethnic group of people and they don't treat you real well, they don't respectfully talk to you real well, the best thing to do is expose them, tell the people, and then the second thing to do is just avoid them. And that's with any group of individuals that you see out there. And we live in the last days that no matter how you look at it, people need sustainable income to survive. And whether it's an individual who's in poverty or an individual who's running a business, they need income coming through. But if someone's going to be biased and they're going to be racist or prejudiced because they can't adjust to the reality of a certain ethnic group of people, I think that the best thing to do is avoid them. Don't jump on them. Don't commit no violent acts against them. The best thing to do is to avoid them. I mean, simple as that. I mean, I have seen certain elements of people that were prejudiced towards me. And the best thing I do, if they're not respectful and likable and nice to me, I'm not, it's mutual. And, oh wow. That's the best thing to do, is to avoid prejudiced people. That should be for the year 2020 and on. If they don't respect you, they can have their business in your neighborhood. They can have your business in your country. But if they don't respect you, there's no sense of being around people that don't respect you. That's it. I mean, that should be the ultimate thing. Whatever community of people that it is, and I don't care if they're what religion that they're in. That's the best way to do it. If they have something, and particularly if you're African American, if you find a certain group of people are being hostile towards you, just avoid them. That's the best thing to do. Just, if you had to go down the street to another business that properly treats you right. And that should be the message for this year, to send out to other people, that we ain't taking this no more. We're not going to be subjugating you, let you have a rise, put a step on her, put your foot on our backs. That should be the motto. There's no sense of, there's no arguing, no negotiating. I mean, there's certain, I'm not going to say on here, but there's certain people I don't patronize their business. There's certain groups of people I just don't patronize. There's no need to go into their business, because and regardless of I'm in a so-called status of a lower income, but they don't deserve my dollar. Whatever dollar that I earn and whatever dollar that I get, why should I why should I prosper them when they can't adjust their reality around me and they can't accept what I look like on my body? It just, to me, it doesn't make no sense. And I think that's the way you come back with prejudice. So let them other people who they put in high regards and including their own, and they feel protective, safe. Why do why you keep going around people that just don't like you, and it's just that don't that's that afraid of you, that scared of you, and just don't know what to make of you. Why keep prospering to people like that? I don't understand it. Even if they have products in their stores, even if they have products in their business, why keep prospering them? Don't you know America it is the land of capital? So you go any other business you want. If you, for example, you can change your electric. If you don't like one electric company, there's 2 or 3 or 4 electric companies you can get your electric service from. If you go into the insurance business, you don't like one health insurance, car insurance, life insurance, you got an option to go to see who would treat you, give you the better rate and a better aspect. And if you go to a bank, it's the same way with the bank. You can choose whatever bank you're banking with. You go different aspects of people competing with your money. And one of the most racial groups that spend the most money out of all the groups of people, one of the many and they statistically show is African Americans. And so if it's a certain segment of groups that don't like African Americans, and why prosper them? Why, if they don't like Africa, and they stupid enough to not to see that these are most spendingest people on anything. They spend on, and they do. African Americans spend at a higher percentage rate than any other group of people on the planet when it comes to just one of the various ethnic groups of people. Statistics have shown that. So why? But if you go into any business, whatever it is whatever daily business, whether you're getting tires for your car, whether you're getting hair products, personal hygiene products for your own, I'd rather go into a franchise business than dealing with these other people. Because number one, the franchise piece is going to help people that hire look like you and speak your language, and you're going to have a perfect understanding where they're coming from. That could be any store like a Dollar General or Family Dollar or Dollar Tree store or something on the magnitude like that they hire your own people, and they pretty much put them not too far from the low income neighborhood, so they're gonna hire someone that look like you most likely, and the business people gonna look. Some people may not look like you, but they will understand where you coming from, and you have a better interaction with them. See, America is about capital, and everybody wants that a capital dollar to make a something significant. And right now, whether however big or small the businesses is, some businesses are suffering, and they don't get enough support from people that circulate the dollar. They're not going to be in business too long. So, and I think the best way, the weapon is, if you are being discriminated in any business, and there's a pattern of discrimination going on, expose that business. Expose them, because sooner or later their money gonna come to the halt. Come, it's gonna slow down. This is a fact. This is on an economic level, and then let other people know in that community what's going on and what with this person in their business. And because there's a segment of people that have businesses in their city, in the poor communities, and they can prosper and know how to treat their own and know how to make it easier for them to give to their products. Because we're people, excuse me. Ooh. Sorry about that. I had a belch. We're people, and every person wants to have something cheaper than what they have. Whatever product that it is. So the best thing to do is to try to deal business with your own people. And the black people have their own stores, convenience stores, grocery stores, or something like that, then they can hire their own, and they have all you need is a distribution, place that would send trucks and get shipments coming in from whatever store. You can have your own stuff and employ your people. That's in the young people that's in the neighborhood, so they know about business and they know about support, and then support the community, that support organizations around your neighborhood, which is much needed. Why keep giving your money to people that's not really supporting your neighborhood, but they're coming on the back end just for them and they own? That's all what I'm saying. So the practical thing to do is to just support your own. And like I mentioned, that when it's time to come to the local government from the federal government, they send out grants and things, and to get business loans and business grants to people. Some people gonna jump on that to build up their business, but if you have good business ethics, you can compete with these other people for their business. If you have a good marketing strategy, and even the person who helped marketing you can help you get your business off the ground. But that should be the slogan for this year. It's time, and going into next year, that African Americans, particularly, and those in the cities or towns where you at, it's time to take your capital back. You've been putting up with people who don't have your best interests. They don't speak your language and they don't have your best interests too well. And only you know your own people. Only you know the goodness and the bad and everything with your own people. No other people don't have that. Only you. There's only respect among your own people. Black people are very unique people, and you deserve the best. And it's good just to patronize, but the best way to avoid people's racism and biases and prejudice, and I mean is, if they own a business, any type of business, if you sense that, if you see that, expose it and let others know and step away from it. And whatever individual, whatever ethnic background that they come from. Sorry, my room's getting kind of dark here. But that's the best thing to do. That's the best way to solve this problem. And employ kids around your own neighborhood. Employ young people. Not every young person is lazy and don't want to work. There's somebody there that's gonna want in your in that neighborhood gonna want to work. They want to work extra dollar, and there's somebody's parents that stole them with responsibility of being on time, because when these young people go to school or go to college, that's the discipline part about being there on time, and giving a good work ethic. And the only people going to believe in it is the people that look like your own. Not too many people outside of your people think highly. So it would be best to hire your own people and for your own benefit, and therefore you can drop your unemployment numbers down by employing young people. Even in an economy like this, that's even in the COVID, what the COVID crisis is going on, and they estimating that this recession is not going to end for it can take up to 10 to 12 years for recovery, because all these businesses crashing. But you know one thing about people that's in poverty, you know how to make things go, and some of you know how to market it. You know how to market yourself, whatever gift that you have. All you need is the right marketing strategy. And people need to get, and I urge the people who do, is get behind someone that look like you, speak like you, talk like you. Get behind them. Because only you understand where you coming from. And there's a lot of youth in the inner city knows what the youth out the country know that you have a marketing. And those of you who have that, you get that drive. You get, some of you are naturally talented talking to people. Some young people are naturally they're gifted. So it's time now to step your gift up, and so you can reach across the country. And if you have a good business ethic, work hard ethic at it, I believe that there's a certain percentage of our people will support you. I truly believe that. But this is the time. Now is the time. Is the basically, and that would be the advice. That avoid these other people that don't think highly of our culture. And what I mean by that is just that they think, some of these individuals that think that you're criminal, you're lazy, or if you even hear something like that, and someone slip up and say something like that, cut them. It's time to cut them off. And cut them off financially. You don't, like I said, you don't have to go and angrily jump on them and cuss them out. You don't have to do all that. I find that the best way to do it, like I mentioned earlier, is to avoid people. Just avoid them. Avoid these other people. If they don't want to get to, they don't want to know us, why should you try to get to know them? I mean, it's individually. If they ain't trying to use rational thinking to get, but then you have to be careful of the people who try to be your friend, but ain't your friend. They try to be your ally, but really ain't your ally. They're just there just to ride the opportunity train. But soon, if they ride your back, and as you go, if you sinking into the ground, they want to keep putting their feet on your back. I'm just seeing what the weather gonna look like here. But that's the best thing to do. That's the best way to avoid people. Is just basically leave them alone. That's the only solution. And like I mentioned earlier, I don't go in certain people's businesses. If it ain't a franchise business or something, a well-known business, or even if it's a little store, but I don't patronize it. If it's certain restaurants, I don't patronize it. If it's mainstream restaurants, yeah, some mainstream restaurants, we automatically do. But some restaurants, Pay, because you don't know. No, one, you don't know if the people are clean. Two, you don't know what you're eating, and how clean that it is. And I mean, you can find it in any restaurant, major restaurant too, or wherever you eat at. But the wise thing to do is you gotta watch what you eat, because whatever you eat can make you sick. So you want to be wise about where you eat. I mean, where you get your fast food, any food. But and for the women, covering the hair and nails, I would say suggest for the women that what's wrong with being around someone that's in your family or close to your family that do hair and do nails. With you helping each other out. That's what the inner city back in the 30s and the 40s and 50s, black women would do. They own knowing each other, put what chemicals in their hair, how to make certain hairstyles, how to keep their whatever nails and everything. And now you have some of them that know, and with the African counterparts, at least you know if they can find someone that export from some legitimate hair for the hair extensions or wigs, at least you have a good idea that is coming from somewhere that you're familiar with. Because you got to be careful what the hair you're coming from, because some of these people who you go into the shops, and it was a report about this that it was in China somewhere, that they would get dead people's hair and selling their hair across the market. So, and then you don't know what that hair has, have life in it. So you put it on in your scalp. So you have to be very, very careful, because whatever that hair is life in that scalp, in that wig and that hair piece, especially if it's off of a dead person. I mean, it's almost like someone's organ, putting in someone's muscle tissue, or blood marrow, and you become what that person was who passed away. So that's another thing. It was women watching this video, and it's somebody. If you find one woman that is that ain't good with her business, go to another black woman. Find another one. I mean, someone gonna do hair and nails, but that's the best thing to do. That you own. Buy them at, and now it's good to see as far as that, to see black women open up their own beauty shops, and that's what it takes. That you're the only people who understand your own culture, and that's just on the women's side. The same in men. There's men that know how to design shoes and clothes and stuff. There's some black men there's black people online that got their own products, and that's why you got sites like We Buy Black. There's people that know how to get colognes and different health items, vitamins and things like that, and supplements. You're your own people gonna be able to help out your own people that will deploy, and then when that person's business get off the ground, they can hire their own people, just like these other people do. But they're hiring the other people. Most likely, they're hiring other people that look like them, and you're helping them grow their business by hiring their people and not hiring your people, while your people still study in poverty and suffering and looking for a job and looking the way to make the ends meet. You see what I'm saying? So it would make sense to spend money with your own people, because you're helping out your own people, and people who support your business. It could someone who could, it could be white, that could be supporting your business. I'm just saying, people who respect you, people who, people won't think, um, they won't dislike you because you just, because of that, because they're afraid that you guys are lazy and da da da, da. And then you find out later on, you know, it's coming out with someone with a video or the deep dark things. This is so when you hear these things happening, it should be immediately respond. You ain't got to go and go and cuss them out and doing all these things. Best thing to do is just basically leave them alone, and don't. And I practice group economics. Practice group economics, and that's so true. Because when you practice group economics, that's how you're going to be able to survive in this recession. It's group economics, and being able to deploy people and be fair by paying people their money. There's other aspect too. When you run a business, you gotta keep happy people, pay them their money, whatever they earn, whatever they work for. And if you pay somebody their money right, you won't have problems. Someone helping you get your business, and someone you do the bookkeeping who will honestly pay them their money. And if you get a few bad apples that don't want to work or don't want to come late, don't penalize the rest of your people. Don't think that all your people are like this individual. You don't want to work or she don't want to come to work. And don't look down on your people. Find someone else that look like you. That they will get up and work their butt off, whatever age and bracket. So that's the main thing. That's how the way you're gonna survive. Because right now, what's being shown on the news media, what's being shown on TV, paints a certain picture in a certain light. And so the people who have biases and opinions about African Americans, so they don't care. Some don't understand, some don't care to understand, some don't want to understand. Or it's their opinion. They don't like you for some reason. It's not. It's just something some people don't. But I'm just saying, if we find out any group of people that don't like you, that should be the motto. Don't do business with them. And if you're out in the suburbs, go into another business. There's many businesses out in the suburbs as well as in the city. Go to the business that will most likely hire someone, be nice to you, than hire someone to look like you. That's the best way. That's the best thing. Because it's about survival for resources. And people can come into this country, set up shop. Just because they come in this country and set up shop don't mean you have to shop where they set up at. You don't have to shop where they, just because what they do. And then again, you gotta be careful when it comes to something you eat. You have to be wise on where you eat at. If it's really clean, a clean place, or they clean, and do they understand you? Or are they afraid, or are they scared of you, or things like that. When I go out to eat at restaurants, whatever, other than your typical Subway, Penn Station, sometimes Wendy's, sometimes if I get a takeout like Ponderosa, there's one Ponderosa here, Olive Garden. If I want something, even I went to a little restaurant. It was in Grove City, served Greek food. or it's pizza or something. You know, that's a good pizza or good Greek food. They were cool, and that but these other people, I don't. You had. I'm looking at the place when you walk in and everything, and you have to be careful what you eat out anyway, regardless. Even if you had some at some of your major restaurants, but at least you have a good idea. The only kind of come close to like Asian food I would eat at is something like Mongolia. Mongolia is a restaurant called Mongolia because you can see the food is with vegetables and meats, and you can see they have it like an. This is kind of it. It's not too expensive. They give you more for your money. It's like $10, $10 to $15, something like that, somewhere between that. But at least you see, like you see vegetables. You see the different meats and stuff. You can see like raw chicken or raw steak, and you can literally you can tell it's raw chicken and raw steak. That's the closest restaurants I go to, and you can see the people cooking your food, and you can understand where they're coming from, and they're very customer oriented in there. But the food is good. It's called Mongolia. I know you don't have one in your city, but you can. It's the food that you can see, and it's people that American people that look like you, that they hire, and they be waiting on your tables and stuff, wait on you and everything. There's a couple places I go once in a while. It's called Bip Bop. I go. That's one of the restaurants, but that's the closest Asian I go to. That's as close as far as the Asian food. You know, I can see what I'm eating, and it is fresh here in Ohio. But if you're going out there, and you definitely when you're going out to eat something in public, be selective where you eat, because you don't. Because they used to do here on the news channel here. They used to go around and they do the background of some of these restaurants, and some of these people don't even wash the floors. They leave their food out on the counter, and then they go cook it and serve it, and the food got to be at a certain temperature. And if they don't cook it at a certain temperature, you can cause someone to get sick, and that could be something serious. And some of these folks they don't do that. They don't take care of their restaurants in the back room as well as the front. They try to keep the front up good, but they don't keep it up to par. So, and then when the health department come back there, they do they have rat droppings and dead roaches or something like that. So that's why you really gotta watch where you eat, man. So that's what I meant as far as the eating, going out to eat and things like that. That's any place you go to, but sometimes some people come from these countries. They don't take care of some of these other places. They don't take care of their restaurants too well. They're not really clean. So that tells you a lot. But but some people go to them because they're in locally around the neighborhood, and I guess they feel like because their prices are cheap, and that could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. But there's some restaurants I've seen where I wouldn't eat their food because they might not be too clean. In some places there's been reports they had to shut down. There was one, and it's not reflecting to all Asian, but there was this one particular Asian restaurant that was serving dog meat. It was on like here in Columbus, Ohio. They had to shut it down about 3 or 4 years ago. They were serving dog meat. This was at an Asian restaurant. And like I said, you don't know what kind of meat you're getting when you go to them buffets or whatever. You don't know what kind of, it was really not. That's why I say go to a place like Mongolia and a place like that so you can see what chicken and what steak, when it's raw, what it look like. So you know, because you know when chicken and steak is raw. And they have it in like in cups and things and vegetables. So when you go, they'll get you a plate and they'll lay out the seasons and everything. So when you go and get your food, you know what you're eating. Is the chicken and the steak and vegetables. But yeah, that's what this one. It was a Chinese restaurant. They kind of find out people they know they were, and it's one of the demographic areas where it's working low class area where they were serving dog food to people. Dog, dead cat. I thought that was a stereotype. There's some people that actually serve dead animals and chop them up and pepper it up and make it look like a real meat and real steak of meat, whatever. So you eating it. So you gotta be careful where you eating at. Just because they fasten and that you know that you know. And that's what any of these other people's restaurants, not just them, but in them other restaurants, you have to be careful. And whether it's, you're eating Latin food or you got to know what you're eating, and it looks like the food, and they're clean. And when the city says that this restaurant's good, because that means a lot. Because the health department they do check in on them places once in a while. But you just gotta be careful where you shop, where you eat, and that's part of that. But it's good to be with your own. That would take care of it, and what kind of food, and you can see the food is the chicken and it's whatever, the vegetables is the vegetables, and you know that they're clean and that they're practicing cleanliness, especially in the midst of this COVID-19 stuff going around. That's the last thing you need someone to get, someone's COVID-19 germ get into your food. So it's really important that they practice that. You see them with their gloves and stuff on too. Because it isn't like someone dropping of the saliva or whatever. You don't. I mean, that's why I guess they encourage most people to mostly eat at home and cook your own stuff as possible. But if you do, what places open up. Go to the ones that open up. When they have the food layout, then you can see what you're cooking and what you're eating. So that's as far as the cooking and eating part. But and I mentioned about the stores. If you go, for example, for your cars and your tires, go to somebody. Hopefully, if they look like you, but go to somebody who is fair, who will work with you. But they got this kind of attitude. I've been to a couple places where they weren't too friendly. I couldn't barely understand them, for one thing, and therefore they have a bad attitude. They're not very customer friendly like. So that's a red flag. Go to people that look like you, that have your own tire shop that's customer friendly, or someone who is American that is customer friendly. That's straight up. That's fair. Where you buy your tires and when you get maintenance on your car. That's the major thing. I understand sometimes their major dealers or secondary dealers can be expensive with their prices, but be careful who you work on your car. Because I had some tires. Recently I had to get a recall at my shop. I have a Honda, and two lug nuts cost $10 a piece for a lug nut. And so it's hard to find lug nuts for a particular model. So just can't put any model. But watch who does your car and your transportation. That's another thing. And this is advice, but deal with people that deal with you. Just like who people go cut your hair. Most likely the people, especially in the inner city, that look like you. So if they cut your hair, hopefully, and then you got some of us that wash cars. That's another big business in the inner city, in the black community, that wash cars. And get the ones that know how to work on cars, whether it's body work or whether it's mechanical work. Make sure it's someone that basically they're good with people. They're good, and they got a good reputation around people. That's the truth. People that know how to deal with us, basically, that know how to respect us and deal with us as a people. That would be my advice. And that's basically it. As far as nails, car maintenance, foods, where you shop at, stores at, and then, for example, if you got clothing, get someone to support somebody in your own community that design the shirts and pants, and shoes. Black people can do stuff like that. You can do your own shoes, design your own clothing. I mean, that's another thing. These are a solution how you can avoid these other entities. It's right there in your inner city. It's right there in your community. They just need your support. You got some young person that can design clothing, shoes. I've seen the talent in the inner city, and he or she just need the motivation. It's right there. And when that young person, that encouraged them, and maybe if they do so well, they'll have have 2 or 3 of their friends that can do business. It's in the city. This is my suggestion for those ones that's in. No matter if you are in the projects, you got some talent like that. There's somebody in your rapport where you at can know how to design stuff just like that. They just need that young person, or that person could be a younger person, a middle-aged person. They just need that support. Do your people well. You're the only people that understand where you coming from, and you know the struggle. You know things that some of these outside people don't understand, don't know you. But if you take a demographic and they get that kind of motivation to do business and get some kind of business plan, and you got someone doing that in each, let's say you're in an apartment complex or housing complex, if you get some individuals, all they gotta do is get the material, and all they gotta do is get it going. Hey man, I know how some people how they get, like, you got a Miss Johnson have a little store, and all the little kids get their little candy and little. I dated a girl like that one time, and all the little kids would come over, and they go over and they come over and knock on the door, and she's making a underground hustle, go to the Sam's Club and buy a whole thing of waters and candies and all this stuff like that. And it's right there in your community, man. It's right there. African clothing, African American shirts, dresses, shoes, hats, designer jewelry. It's right there in your community. And you helping that, authors of, those of you like to read books, go to your black bookstore. It's right there in your community. It's like right there, or go online, or it's right there. You have so much history among the inner city. It's not even funny. The talent is there. It just needs to be molded. It's right there. Someone know how to do something in those property. They just need someone to support them. Somebody just need to come along and just give them that boost and give them the resources and give them the dream. But if you got some layout and you serious about what you do and you business like and you on time and with your customers and everything, black people will support you because you know what's so uniquely about you. What everybody notice, whatever neighborhood, inner city neighborhood, they know your work and they struggle. And some young woman and some young man, when you get come to some place like YouTube or Facebook or something like that, and you put up your products on there, that when they see you, that it would encourage them. And then you got a layout, and you got someone that can design your website, and you a person that can knit shirts and knit things like that. I mean, put fancy T-shirts and from all different sizes and get the material from big to small for people. Oh man! And there's some people who are doing it. Like I said, that's one good thing about the internet, that you can reach across all you gotta do is get an email, your address, and boom. And if you're good business, you have good business ethics. Major thing, have good business ethics among your own people. You can survive this economy if you got good business ethics. And it's very important to love and support your own people. When I mentioned those 4 or 5 things earlier about what normally was common with people, as far as the hair, the maintenance on your car, the stores, and all that, etc. It's right there in your community. It's right there. Even if the people among you, there's someone that you could talk to, you can relate to. And if one person's too busy, go to another black person who's just as good, who's just as well, who's professionally. Because somebody might know somebody that even if you have to go across town, wherever you're at. So that's would be my suggestion. Because that's the only way you're going to support one another, and even though you can survive this economy, because the only way you're going to have to pull each other out to this economy is you, and because you've been at the bottom so long, it enable you to develop gifts. These other groups of people put some of these people, along with the main source, have put their foot on you for so long, they don't think that you got the gusto to do it. But if you're in the inner city, there's talent there. If you wherever you live at, there's somebody in that complex or on that street where you live at that they need some encouragement, they need some support. They need some background. And so if these other people, then when they see that you're building something among yourselves, yet that money is flowing. So you don't have to go out there and go to the streets and selling that rock and selling some or whatever. Yeah, it's easy. It's fast money, but it's a fast way to get in debt. So when you're selling something that's not illegal, you ain't got to worry about the IRS, and you don't have to worry about the federal government, and you don't have to worry about law enforcement. I mean, that's an alternative way. Because if you sell those other things, look what you're gonna get result: death, prison, or paralyzed. So is it worth it when you have someone that have the skills and the business skills, the same skills you were doing something illegal, like selling marijuana, crack, and you can take the same doggone skills and divide accounting it all up and make it for a legitimate business. Well, you can do, instead of doing something illegally and worrying about getting caught, and they got to worry about doing 20 years to life in prison. You know, but it's always been there. It has to be cultivated. That's what it is. It just have to, but it's among you. It's there. It's right there. The talent is there. But it's just that there's the motivation part of it, and then it's the exposure part of it. Because someone got some talent among black people. I do believe that. Someone got a talent. Got some talent. Everybody has something that's in them that can motivate them. And I've heard pastors talk about this. That's true. You have it right there among you. You don't need these other people. You really don't need them. And if they're gonna be scared, think that you're loud, criminality people, that would kind of motivate it in itself. Okay, then if they feel safe around this higher segment of class of, let's say, white people, let them support them. Let them support them. And they're gonna do it anyway. And let some of their own and them support it. But you got it. Because no one's giving you a chance. No one's giving you the opportunity. No, and you ain't got to deal with that bias. You ain't got to deal with that prejudice. You ain't got to deal with them if you support and someone can support, get behind somebody to have their own stores, their own shops, get their own business. You don't have to deal with their prejudice. They're there, but remember, you know how to compete. And it's just a matter of, find it. And like I said, go to a site like, go to those sessions like with Boyce Watkins and different individuals, or they can point you to some direction, or there could be someone go to those black business meetings, and they can, if you got some kind of product, they can cultivate it for you. This is a suggestion. And if you go to We Buy Black online, it's particularly African Americans, and there's certain sites like that support your own. That's what the avenue's there for. And somebody will mentor you, and so you don't have to take that so-called easy route. That the easy route will lead you into someone's prison and jail because and trumped up charges, whatever. So they're keeping you behind prison walls for the rest of your life. I mean, if it means if it gets down to the gusto, you have to go and scrap iron and aluminum. I'd rather do that than that's the least thing you can do. I mean, but at least is you getting some kind of money, get something started. Then when you get some aluminum, let's say you did that. People, they making good money doing that, scrapping metals and things like that. They make good money. All you need is a truck. That's why you see some a lot of them older men do that. And majority be white people doing that, but black people are catching on to that too. And it's just you have to find out who got the properties, throwing stuff away. And that's some money under the table. And then you can take that money and apply it. Just giving you some avenues. And however you do it, while at the same time you're trying to feed your family or keep a roof over your head, and the down economy. This is a way of hustling without having to go the wrong way. That the police won't have to mess with you. All you're doing is all make sure is all what I'm telling you is all legal, not illegal. And like I said, the talent is there. The talent is among you. It really is. I'm at the, like majority of you, I'm at the certain demographic, but I see it, and when I'm at the demographic. And I see it as well as and I see that both sides in the suburbs. I see the demeanor. I see the people, how some people's demeanor are out there. in certain areas of the suburbs. Some are good and some are not so. And it's like, why we keep making these people that get this kind of attitude when you got something going on with wherever area of town where you live in your city. This is something, but this is my solution, ladies and gentlemen. The website, go to, if you're African American, male or female, that's the best thing to do. That's the best thing to do. Is go to a website being to get around African American and do business with African American people who respect and honor African Americans, black people. You know, but these other people is trying to get opportunities and be racist. Once they're exposed, cut them off. It's time to really cut them off. It's like they don't deserve your business. They don't deserve your attention. Don't let them expose you for their own gain. And let the Most High God, He will show you who they are. He will show you, but the talent is right there, and it's there. But that's how I would say you can avoid these other people who are prejudiced, who's racist and biased. Don't go into business. Just don't do business with them. Because right now, as long as the dollar's still relevant and you're the highest spending bracket of people, they're going to learn to respect you. They're going to learn to get over that. If they can't respect you, then they don't deserve your dollar. And I've heard that screamed throughout the side of the activists. The activists are telling you the truth. If they can't respect you, don't spend your dollar with them. Go find somebody, if it's in your town or on your side town, go to another side town in a black business and support them. Like you do with a barber shop, like you do with a detail place, like you do with a mechanic shop. Or there's other people, someone don't treat you right, there's somebody else in the city that know how to do it right. Don't throw all your people under the bus and say, oh man, Negroes, they don't know how to do nothing. No, there's someone that know how to do something. Don't do that. Because it ain't no guarantee that you go to the other people, they're going to treat you any right. You don't even know what, and half the times, you don't know what they talk about. You don't understand what they're saying anyway. You don't know if they're giving you a fair price. And some of them just don't like us. And they'll show you some form of fashion. They don't like you. They don't think highly of you. And that's with anybody. But first, go to your own first. This is to improvise. Go to your own first before you go spraying out. If there's a black grocery store, if there's a black drugstore, there's a black hotels, there's black banks, there's black Airbnb, there's black neighborhoods. They're there. They just need they need your spending dollar, black people. They need exposure and they need your spending dollar. And that's the way you're gonna avoid this racist element around us. That's one way to avoid them. And you have to deal with that. If you have to go across town, across to another city, another state, that's the best way to avoid it. That is the best way to avoid them. And there's a Facebook that's called We Buy Black. There's a website. And there's a couple other ones. We Bank Black. So you got banks, a few banks that's still in the United States. There was one site called Black Excellence List, and they do exposure about black hotels, black Airbnb hotels, neighborhoods, all that stuff like that. Like I said, you could avoid the racism. these racist people. And when these racist people like, oh, these blacks are really getting together, whoa, what the heck, and that's the main thing after the political arena for the African American community. That's how you rise to power. And then when they see you rise to power, then they know, wow, they whatever their mindset was, that changed their mind real quick. They'll be running, and oh man, if that reparation comes, you get your reparation, they really gonna be coming for you, want to do business with you. Trust me, they will break their neck. They come want to do business with the same people they putting their foot down on and call them lazy and shiftless or whatever. They be the first one with the hand out. Come make you all kind of deals, but they wouldn't make you all kind of deals when you, like before all of this was. It's some of these same individuals out of these groups of people. But that's the best thing to do. That's why you have people, group economics. That's true. And you're the fastest group of people that's spending outside your community and other communities, and I have seen it in other communities, how they prospered. And they built up. I made video on my page. I have showed different plazas and these different ethnic groups of people have built their business up. Like the one section I went over, and it was basically Hispanics. I mean, all the Hispanic groups had their own business together. One had an ice cream shop. One had a grocery store in inside a restaurant. One had a furniture business. They put it all in the same demographic of area. And so now most people who speak Spanish can, they ain't got no problem. They go from one end to the other. There was one video on my webpage, East Indian people. You have the East Indians that do the same thing with their stores. They got a grocery store. They got a restaurant. They got other little stuff, other little business on the side, in the same demographic of area. Then they don't live that far from. So most of those people that live up in them areas, they don't live that far from it. The Asians, like the Koreans and the Chinese, they do the same thing. Everybody is doing group economics. They do the same thing. And they're comfortable around their own people. I mean, they interact, they go to the stores and stuff like that, but they got a restaurant and they got their own international food and clothing right there among their own people. So they don't have to. So people that want something from their home country is right there. It's right there. Every group of people do. Even some Africans do. And this is in Columbus, Ohio. I've seen them. They have their own. There's a couple plazas I did on my web. You go to my YouTube page. And they have their own. They have it called Global Mall, and you go in there, and they sell the African clothing in different parts of. They build up their own, right there in the city, not too between the city and the suburbs. They have an area like this, and they just deal with the majority of people deal with their own people, speak their own language. They got their own religious church and mosque around the area. They center everything around it. This is here in Ohio, and I'm pretty sure it's in the city in those major cities where you're at. But I'm saying this, you can do the same. That's where that group thing is centered around. Education is not too far from it. They go to the schools, but majority of their people. Even there's another group of people called the Burmese and the Nepali people. They got businesses up along in Columbus is one of the cities. They got a grocery store. They have a restaurant, and they have an international store, and they got a couple, and they work in a couple businesses. And I know people, and I know it's government trying to help them do that, but as African Americans, I'm telling you, this is what these groups of people are doing. This what going on here right now. And this is why I said that's why you have the Boyce Watkins and Dr. Claude Anderson and different individuals. They're trying to tell you this. And then of course, you have, like in Columbus, there's a big LGBT community. So they're group economics. That could be anybody. It's LGBTQ. But majority in like German village, Italian village, they're white. I mean, they're white and lesbian, gay men. I mean, is it true? On progression. So and you can see the businesses is made up. There are black businesses here, but they spread out. They just spread out, and then they got in any African American barbershops. You come here, maybe a few businesses here. They spread out across from the east to the north. They spread out. They're not to me grouped together like your Africans do here, and your Asians and your other people do here. They're all spread out. But see, now that they have their own business, they'll come. You see them come among, the major grocery stores and things like that. The majority of their businesses, they deal with people that speak their language and talk their and shop in things that they from their own country. Right there. Hear this in Ohio. And I'm pretty sure it's like that down in Cincinnati and probably Cleveland. But in Columbus, Ohio, yes. And I have it on my bit showing you this. That they even, and like I mentioned one time, you have the Middle Eastern people. What they call, they label Arab Americans. Arab Americans could be what, Lebanese, Syrians, Palestinians. They have their stuff here. They have their stuff in Northwest area, along out there with other people, with the East Indians, all the other people. But even in Michigan, it was Dearborn, Michigan. There's a whole they got a whole area, and I saw a video about this, and I've been to Dearborn. This one strip was like that. There was like an insurance company. There was like a construction company. There was a transportation company. There was a grocery store, all run by Arab Americans. Arab Americans, which I mentioned earlier, and them just a few. I mean, it could be Egyptians, it could be Libyans, it could be, you name it. If it's something like they got that Arabic talk, they're up in Dearborn, Michigan. If they're Muslim, they're there. There's some here, but they're there doing group economics. They gonna have gas stations. They got the convenience stores. They got the restaurants. They got all kind. They get them Arab Americans. They got more. They in some stuff. I worked with a few of them. This one guy, he had two businesses. He had a carpeting business, and he had this one thing where he had us go and get skids illegally and go get some boxes. So they know how to hustle at a level. Some Arab Americans, they know how to hustle. They in transportation, they know how to hustle. These are Arabic speaking people, they Lebanese, you name it, Palestinians, Iraqis, or whatever is up under that Tunisians, Micronesian, but Moroccans, all, if they speak in some Arabic type of language, they got a business somewhere in your city. They in some kind of, and then you can tell them. It could be white as white to the native to native. And I have seen them just flow from a Turkish person to a Palestinian person. I'm sitting in the bank one day, I'm like, damn, they just started talking in some Middle Eastern language. But it's just going to show you, they in every, when they come, they dominate as a people. Not to put down these people. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying, look what they're doing. And as I said, you're African American. Your people can group in the economics the same way that they do. And this is what I observed. Just go. This is in the Midwest. I can imagine what it's like in L.A., New York, Florida, definitely, Texas, and Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. They group like that, man. So what I'm telling you is that African American, you do the same thing. Group your stuff together, because that's what they do. I mean, they hire other people, but they run the stuff at the top. They run it, and that's just when I went to Michigan, I seen it. I know it's in New Jersey too, but I was like, damn, they because we stopped and dropped off some trucks at this construction site, and I can tell when they start talking to each other in their native language, and they talk to us. They have one brother had an accent, and the other one. And was talking. This I stepped outside, looked out, I was like, and then you go down the street. It's like they got their name in English and they got their name in their Arabic language. I seen it. It was this one particular street in Dearborn, Michigan, and I'm like, look at that. And I can imagine that was about 12 years ago. So I can imagine they've built up since then because they got some more of them Middle Eastern people that came from Syria and them different places, because they come together. They do. They might have their different, but when they're in America, they'll probably put all that aside. They back over the country. They probably religious, believe whatever. But you would never. One Palestinian, one Syrian, one, like, basically the people like I call around the Bible Belt, basically like of the Middle East. I mean, that's what it is. And you get some Pakistanis in among them. I'm just saying. But as a group economic of people, this what we have. And if you can that's what I'm saying. It may start with the websites. That's where you can build your economic, and you'll be able to survive the unemployment. You can turn the demographic of the unemployment around, and into this this could be a way that it'll be kind of slow, be kind of hard, and for the government, hopefully the government can help us at some point, but if they don't, meantime, this is what you need to do. This is what you can do. I'm telling you, I'm watching these other groups of people. You just go to YouTube, man. I mean, type it in, because I've seen it personally, firsthand, stepping in these people's businesses. When I was delivering meals and stuff, and picking up meals for customers and going take them to their home, I was shocked how many businesses all out places I never heard of, till you see the owners, until you meet the people running the restaurants and things like that. You're like, wow, look at this. You don't know until you're a delivery driver like that, do some contract with Grubhub and one of those other platforms. You see all kind of business. You go through all kind of neighborhoods. Anybody can tell you that. And what kind of people you're going to get there. If it's Instacart or some platform like that, because you will interact with every walks of life with people. You will. So that's why I'm encouraging you. I'm sorry I made this video so long, but this is how you can start building among yourself and avoid those other people. So hope you take notes from this video. Just hear me out. And think about what I'm saying. And if you don't believe me, do the statistics and the research, because the data is right there. And I've seen the data in person. So till next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is James on this is how the way to state group economics for people who's in poverty. This is how the way you can sustain and survive. So y'all take care and be blessed out there. And just follow that advice, and you'll be able to survive in 2020 and 2021 and go get through this recession.